Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Discount Paranormal. Tim hanging out with Justin.
How's it going, people?
Okay, guys, and this week we're finally getting away from UFOs and aliens, which breaks my heart in a million pieces, but we got to do it. It's not just about me, you know.
Now, plus, all you ever hear is aliens, aliens, aliens. Gets a
Yeah,
little boring after a bit.
depends on the person. I don't think
Yeah,
I'd ever get
fair
bored
enough.
of it. I'd never get bored with it ever,
If
ever,
every
ever.
conversation I had with you was about aliens, I might start avoiding you.
They are mostly about aliens. They somehow come full circle to be about aliens in one form or
I'm
another.
like, man, oh man, I gotta go.
Yeah. It's hey, I'm headed to McDonald's, but did you hear about the McDonald's that shaped like a UFO in Roswell? It's completely ridiculous and unrelated, but somehow it's
Oh,
relevant.
somehow I'm not hungry anymore.
Or I've been zapped with my would have lived too on top of it. I'm no longer hungry and I don't want to live anymore.
Yeah,
This episode actually was requested that
it
we cover
was.
this topic. Yeah, shadow people. So fucking strap in, man, because these guys are mean serious business. They're not fun. They're not fun people.
No, no, especially in a lot of stories about them. It never turns out well for you.
Well, I mean, if you have the moniker like shadow person, it doesn't really ring like you're gonna do good things. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna be like a super positive kind of person. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be kind of an a-hole.
Yeah, they call me shadow person, but realistically, I like to bring the light
Yeah,
of
I
God
mean,
into your house.
to be
It's not
honest,
you.
like I feel like I work with a few shadow people because they just zap the will to live right out of me every time I walk into this place.
Time I see him. Oh my God, you again?
God, this guy's from the nether realm, clearly. Yeah. All right. So the legend of the mysterious creatures is definitely been growing in popularity, right? Especially over the last few decades. But I think that comes in partly due to the internet and be able to like spread those stories like on Reddit and 4chan, stuff like that.
Yeah, it makes
Where
it. Technology has made it a lot easier for these things to spread.
right. Or even in some cases, I think get made up. I think some of it is kind of like the Slender Man proxy kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah,
you can kind of like one guy might have like maybe a handful of people put out like a real story, and then like people just kind of creepy pasted it into
yeah. Well,
into
plus
being.
then you have the people who, yeah, like for instance, we're talking about shadow people.
Mm-hmm.
The person who requested it actually said they've seen them before.
Right.
You know, but I've actually heard from other podcasts and stories and stuff like that. People never knew what to call them
Right.
until they found
I
like the
mean,
moniker shadow people. They didn't know what it was or what it was doing.
yeah. I mean, I think you would just call it a ghost.
I
But
think they
yeah.
were, but then there's specific kinds of ghosts
Oh, so now they have to have their own pronouns
classification.
and names and stuff. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. How progressive of the shadow people to want that. I mean, I guess we have to be fair to everyone, even
Yeah.
interdimensional horror beings. We have to be
Yeah.
nice to them too. But all right, so the status of the short people would definitely, while the internet might have helped, they're not new. They're not new stories, right? So these guys go all the way back to around 500 to like 600 BCE, right before the Common Era. So it's
That's
stupid old.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
stupid old.
that's real old, man.
It's like Egyptian old. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
that old.
like geez, like Sumerian level.
It's yeah, it's up there. It's up there for being how old it is. And so shadow people show up in the midst of a lot of ancient cultures, right? Like I said, the Egyptians, the Romans, Greeks, they had everything though. If let's be honest, like the
Yeah.
Romans and the Greeks
They're one and
and
the
the
same,
Egyptians
really. They just
kind of
named
had
their monsters
everything.
different.
Yeah, but they had like this. They all had the same stuff. Like they covered every base, essentially. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they just were like, you know what? Let's just come up with shit and
Yeah,
see,
like
and we'll just put it on walls and
we'll
we'll carve it
slap
into
it.
stone.
We'll just start taking parts of every animal we've ever found
Yeah.
and mismatch them until
Well, I mean,
we've
I
run out of
think
monsters to create.
especially with these guys, Egyptians, Romans, Greeks. I mean, they're all kind of in the same area than the
Oh, I mean, dude,
Mediterranean, so I'm sure there are a lot of them shared
all three
stories
of
and stuff.
these were well, dude, like to get off topic a little bit, the Egyptians and the Romans, and think the Greeks, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Mhm.
Of course, the Greeks and Romans, they're one and the same.
Right.
really. Romans would actually,
Well, one was in Greece and the other was in Italy, but
yeah, but the Romans came
like
from the
the
Greeks and they
gods and
took
stuff. You
their
thinking?
whole mythology
Oh, okay, I follow.
and just renamed them. But
I
the
got you.
Romans came from, anyways.
Right.
Like the Egyptians some Egyptians would worship Roman deities
Hmm.
and vice versa,
Ah, okay.
and their gods would intermingle into their pantheons.
Oh,
So
okay.
sometimes, like like the Egyptian goddess, I think it was Isis,
ISIS, yeah.
would show up in like Roman stories.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
and vice versa. Like they kind of, because they were constantly going back and forth with each other.
Oh,
They
okay.
were like they weren't complete. They weren't separated.
So they would talk about like
They were trade.
Leonidas in Egypt in the
Yeah,
300.
well, I don't know about that because I'm pretty sure that was a made up story. But
No, Leonidas was a real guy.
no, Leonidas was the whole 300.
That was a
shtick,
real story too.
No, it wasn't
That's what
300. It was
inspired
like
the whole.
fucking 10,000.
That's what inspired the whole thing.
It
Xerxes
wasn't
was real.
300.
I mean, these are real
It
people.
wasn't three. I could be wrong, but it was not 300 Spartans
It not
against like
could
fucking
be. Not could be.
100,000 Persians.
It's not could be. You are wrong.
I
That
don't
is
believe it.
that
I don't
100%
believe
real.
I'm wrong.
Well,
But in any
I
case,
mean,
they were constantly
you also
trading
believe
with
in a
each other.
chupacabra, so I mean, your belief system is dubious at best. you know,
But like they were trading with each other. They were in constant,
right?
like their leaders
Sure.
were talking to each other, marrying each other. So
Right. I
yeah,
mean, while like it was part of the Egyptians, the Romans, and Greek, kind of like what you said. I mean, where they're all kind of intermingling at probably in some point in history, especially with myths and legends. Like their actual like origin, you can't really trace it accurately because it's so old. For one, you know what I
that
mean?
and God only knows with the phone game
Right.
how old these stories actually are.
Right. I mean, so it's like not only do the stories vary, but like kind of like how they look vary. I mean, not a lot, but it's kind of like you said, like the telephone game, where it changes just a little bit. The more you tell it, it
Yeah.
evolves.
Well,
You know
because
what I mean?
a lot of this was oral traditions.
Right. It's
So
like old school creepypastas,
yeah,
like very old school.
yeah. You go one town over, you want to throw a little bit of pizzazz in it. So
Right. Like papyrus old. You know what I mean? Like really, really, really old.
before papyrus old.
Right. I mean, so
Yeah.
like a lot of those guys did believe that they were spiritual beings, though. And there's some people, especially now, probably due to culture and all that kind of stuff, I would imagine, that they think that they're extraterrestrial or beings from another dimension, pan-dimensional beings, which is kind of the same thing.
Really,
You know what I mean?
honestly, it is because there's people out there who consider aliens and like extra dimensional the same thing.
Well, I mean, it's funny. Even the name extraterrestrial is very egotistical. Like, well, they're just like extra beings. Like they're
Yeah.
not the important ones. They're they're the trash beings. We're the real important ones here on Earth.
Yeah, we're the terrestrial beings.
Yeah, we're terrestrial.
They're just the extra
they're
ones.
extraterrestrial. They're like the fake sugar of the universe.
They're the Splenda.
Yeah, they're the extra. I think there was a fake sugar called extra. I think there really was. And so it's like they think there are other beings from another dimension, like intruding on our dimension, right? Which is why you'll hear a lot of the stories that they don't have like full form, but enough to notice them. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
yeah.
they're just kind of breaking through a little bit, or they're demons, which.
Well, I mean,
maybe.
that's a go-to for a lot of things nowadays.
Yeah,
Even especially back then.
Well, Christianity wasn't even a thing yet.
Yeah, but they still had their versions.
Yeah,
Things like that. They wouldn't have called them demons per se, but they would have had something along the lines of it.
Right. I mean, like I said, still. I mean, I get it though. Like if you're seeing these things, it's probably super scary. If you are seeing them, you know what I mean. You're like, oh god, that thing must be. It has to be evil. It's pitch black. You know what I mean, and has no features at all. It's like super scary. Like there's no way that's
like
good.
Nothing good looks like that.
Right. It's like nothing good happens at night.
Not one thing.
Everything scary happens at nighttime. You rarely like watch a horror movie where like things are going shitty at like noon. Like that's not really happening. It's usually at the stroke of midnight.
Yeah, they're trying to have brunch and things are being thrown across the room.
Right, exactly. Because all the stuff retreats, when the sun's out. But there's shadows during the day.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's the rules, man. No ghost can show up before 7 p.m.
Right. Shadow
is-
people have the same schedule as like a meth addict. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They sleep all day and
Well, I
they
mean, they
party all
clock
night.
in at 7, clock out at like 3:40, 4 o'clock, go home, shadow wife, shadow kids.
Yeah, shadow child support. So, shadow people are also mentioned in the Quran, right? So they're everywhere now. So that's like Middle East stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And are described as not like a totally physical or spiritual kind of creature. They're kind of in between. They're nebulous. They just kind of exist on Earth. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
not a
like
physical form.
they're
They're not spiritual. They're somewhere in between that, like in that gray area of existence.
fair enough.
Yeah.
That leaves no possible like area for misinterpretation.
Well, I mean, it's kind of
They're
genius
half
'cause
thought, they're half spirit, half physical.
well, it doesn't even
Fuck.
say that. It just says they're not fully one of the other. So it's kind of like, well, no, like we found out that they really are physical. We're like, yep,
Yeah,
okay,
we thought that already.
yeah, we kind of we covered that base when we said they're not totally one of these two humongous areas of things. Okay. Well, that's good. Then they're not fully
Yeah,
spiritual.
we got the bases covered.
Yeah.
I was just saying that.
Another theory is that their origins is like they're like a thought form. I think it's called a tulpa, if I'm not mistaken. Like a thought form energy creature is called a tulpa. I believe
I'm
that's
gonna go
correct.
ahead and assume so, yes.
And so essentially what it is, like a collection of negative thoughts that forms in like specific areas. You know what I mean? Where there's been like a lot of trauma and like really horrible events have happened. Think, I don't know, like Auschwitz, you know what I mean? Where it's like horrible atrocities and all that, like
Yeah, I mean
emotion and the
there's a
feeling
lot
of
of there's a lot
fear
of
and terror.
stories
Yeah.
about thought forms.
Right. You know what
Like
I
they
mean?
never happen. They always happen in like old medieval torture dungeons and
Right.
stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
where people are just tortured for weeks on end until
Right. I would expect
hundreds of
stuff
them.
like Jonestown, you know what I mean? Like where horrifyingly just terrible things have happened to people and they're freaked out, because
Yeah,
they don't
because
want
I
to.
want
Most
to
of the time,
say,
they're unwilling participants.
yeah, I want to say it's more like prolonged generations
Mm.
of just like people being murdered
Right.
and tortured and
Yeah.
left to
Well,
die. But I mean, I
one
think
place
like
that
a thought form
comes
takes like years to form. Like it's not just one big event.
right. It's like
That
there's like certain places where crazy stuff has happened over and over and over and over and over
Yeah.
again. You know what I mean? So that's like one place that comes to mind is like Pavaglia in Italy. You know what I mean? Where they have
That's
like
a good
plague,
that's a good spot for one actually.
like several different plagues. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, it was like 4.
well, I
Wasn't
think
it 3 or 4 like
it was 2 or
actual
3
plagues.
breakouts of the bubonic plague over a couple hundred years. Like bubonic plague hit, like 40,000 people died. They brought them to the island, they burned them, buried them. Then it like chilled out for a little while, and then it came back, and then that happened again, and they just buried all the people there. Plus,
because you
got
to remember
for war.
they were leaving them. Well, like the plague victims.
Mhm.
One, the ones who did actually have the plague were just left there with no real, it's not like they had anything to cure it with, so they just died slowly.
Right.
They were sending people over who were healthy,
right,
and they had like the fucking sniffles.
Right. Well, you
And,
can't be
being sent
you can't
over
be
there.
too careful, man.
Yeah.
I mean, a la
So
COVID.
a lot of
Yeah.
bad shit happened on that island.
Yeah. You know what I actually read the other day? Between I think it was 1970 and 2020, there's been 495 or 97 cases of the bubonic plague in America.
Yeah, you could get it
It's
from
mostly
the
out
fucking,
west.
It's the
I think New Mexico was the worst. New Mexico had the
it's
most
the
cases.
fucking desert squirrels. They still have it.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Like they have.
It was in Europe.
Well, it's all.
How did it get into our squirrels?
It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like the desert squirrels still have it. They just have like a dormant version of it.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, so if you have to get stuck in the desert, make sure to cook your squirrels extra crispy.
Yeah. But you know what? How about this? As a way of life, don't fuck with animals in deserts. You know what I mean? Especially in deserts.
They're even dead, they have ways to kill you.
Right. I wouldn't mess with any animal in the desert. Yeah, like a cactus, I'd probably mess with because I'm thirsty because it's hot. But that's about it. You know what I mean? I'm not messing with snakes and frogs and squirrels. Like a squirrel that lives in the desert. You know how tough that thing must be? They normally live in suburban areas. You know what I mean?
Drinking
like
the leftovers of Starbucks.
Like you think
and
of
shit.
them in like Disney forests. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not in Death Valley. You know what I mean? You don't really think of them that way. And so speaking of that, like out west and kind of stuff like that too. Native American lore, they're known as the Raven Mocker. Okay. So like essentially it's like a being that transforms into like a spectral bird, you know what I mean? Shit like that. And turns into a humanoid figure, and it will come and like steal the souls of like the sick and the dying kind of people, right? So it comes in like that spectral shadow form,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Right?
That's
But I think it turns into it's like the spirit bird that then kind of like
yeah. I think the Raven Mocker has more corporeal of a form.
okay,
I think.
okay,
I'm remembering because I did look into that actual creature before. So
right. And like there's a much less believed theory that they're like guardian angels of sorts, right? Like a protector.
yeah,
for
I
some
can't
people.
believe that one bit.
No, I don't either. Like they protect people from danger, or they try to warn people of danger by peeking out of corners. And I guess that's helpful. If
Yeah,
you
they're
run
just
the
like,
other way, like if you're like walking towards it and it pops out, you're like, nope, and you like leave the area. If that's what
okay,
they're doing, okay, then
but if
that's
they're in
super
your
helpful.
house,
Yeah,
they're just like hanging out in your bathroom.
yeah, they peek out, from the dining room. They're like, well, guess we're never meant to eat in that room ever again.
Yeah, I don't
Something
know what's in
horrible is
there,
going to
but
happen in there.
yeah,
You
the
just
first
stay away
person that
from it.
goes in there is for sure dying.
Right. So like if this sounds familiar, like this kind of thing, like warning of danger, it is. Right. So the Mothman and Point Pleasant, West Virginia, very similar.
Yeah, that's one
super
of the
scary
theories.
being, but meant to warn you. He's
Yeah,
like
it was
a
one of the
misunderstood monster.
for the bridge accident.
Yeah,
Was that like it showed up as a what do they call that? Harbinger?
like a harbinger? Yeah,
Yeah, like warning, hey, this bridge is going because it like landed and sat there for a while. And
yeah, but what is that? That doesn't tell anybody anything.
well, not nowadays. Maybe back in fucking 500 BC,
Right.
you would have seen something like that and be like, oh,
Right.
that's going to collapse soon.
Right. Well, good luck now. Even now, like I mean, like you see like a weird creature on a bridge, like you don't assume the bridge is going to collapse.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, that's fucking nuts. That's super scary. You know what I mean? Like,
but if you're talking about like old ass,
I don't think you
associate.
You don't associate the two things though.
No,
you
wouldn't.
He should have been down there in like one of those construction vests, like bright orange, with like the things
holding like an Acme sized like TNT plunger.
No, like the orange cone things that light up. Like, hey, don't fucking come on the bridge. You know what I mean? Instead of just sitting on it. Instead of sitting on it menacingly, you know what I mean? Like that's not helping anybody.
That's too convenient, though.
That's horrifying.
If you just saw like Mothman,
like warning you, like
you saw like Mothman just standing there in a reflective vest with a hard hat on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you should have been doing that. Like, don't come on the bridge, man. Like it's bad news bears, dude. Do not come on this bridge. So stupid.
I don't know. That might actually be terrifying.
Yeah. Well, there's like
just a cryptid, like hey, obviously warning you not to come this way.
Right. I mean, there were pictures of him at 9/11. Yeah, a lot of help he was.
Yeah.
If he was there.
I don't know if he was there.
I don't know.
I did hear that. I don't know if I ever actually saw anything.
You can't really understand the agenda of a being. Like if he's real, like a being like that, you can't understand the agenda. That's a human mind making that story up. You know what I mean? Like associating some sort of meaning to the existence of either shadow people or something like Mothman or maybe even aliens.
You're trying to, I mean, dude, that's like even with aliens, like you just said, right. You're trying to put human thought processes behind something that's not human.
Right.
You're going to fail on that.
Right.
Because you don't know what they want, what they don't want, what they're here for, if they're here for anything.
Right. You're like, oh, that wolf is, he just ate. He's fine. He's friendly. He's being friendly right now. It's like, no, he's going to rip your face off just because.
He's going to drag you back to the rest of the pack.
It's a creature, dude. Like, get out of there. What are you thinking? That's why I never go in the woods. You know, if you're like, you want to go on hikes? I'm like, no, I don't. I
Maybe
ever.
bring a gun.
Are you kidding me? Why would I want to go into the woods alone, like really far away from lots of other people with
See, that's what
animals living there? Like that's
that's
insanity.
the one thing I don't get when people do the solo. Like, I'm gonna go hiking, like the
Mm.
what's that big trail that runs down the northeast?
You're asking the wrong guy. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Adirondack. No, it's
The pointless trail.
yeah,
I don't know.
but that big ass trail that takes like months to hike.
Oh
You
yeah,
do it alone.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow.
Manifest Destiny Trail. You know what I mean? So something stupid.
Dude, there's like fucking bears and cougars out there.
Yeah,
You're gonna
dude.
walk
Like, are
it,
you kidding me?
and you're gonna do it by yourself with no gun either.
You know,
Like,
when I would do it if I was like Wolverine. You know what I mean? And had
if
like
I was Wolverine,
yeah.
100%, I wouldn't even take the trail.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Like maybe then, because I
Like,
can
I
smell them
wouldn't-
coming, and I got razor blade fingers, and
Yeah,
I can heal
like,
real fast.
I wouldn't
Um,
even be on the trail. I'd be hunting them.
Right, like that's the only way I'm doing that. Because you're
Other
like,
than
okay,
that-
like there's a bear coming, like, well, I got this gun. Like, you better hit him between the fucking eyes when he's
Yeah.
running 35 miles an hour at you. What are you talking about? You gonna climb a tree? Guess what?
Well, no, like
They
the
can climb
gun would
trees, too.
scare most things away.
Yeah,
But
nah, I'm good, dude. I'm good. I'm fine.
you know, we gotta get into the description of shadow people a little bit. What they actually may or may not look like. Because they do change depending on who you're talking to.
And it's gonna blow people away.
Well, there's even like variations of this creature.
Right,
But
that's true.
one of the consistent descriptions is that they always appear to be darker than the night that surrounds them. So you can
Right.
spot them even in pitch black.
Right, like black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they stick out and they can they can be seen by the naked eye. You don't need any like fancy equipment, camera or anything like that.
Yeah, you don't have to be Zach Baggins to see him. Yeah,
Yeah, you could see them clearly.
right,
And there's a shit ton of stories where that's exactly what happens.
right. I wonder if like ghost hunters, like if they do it so long, they naturally develop a skill to like see better at night.
Probably because you're always-
constantly in
Yeah.
strangers' houses at all
At-
hours
at
of the
night.
evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, constantly.
you probably get a little better. Plus, if you're working off the ghosts are real, you probably eventually start getting like a sense for when they're there.
Yeah, you better start working on that sense to see if someone's insane too. You better start working on that sense because I'm sure a bunch of them are nutcases.
Oh, yeah.
Like I personally believe in ghosts. I do. Like I do. I'm like 80-20. You know what I mean? Like I 80% believe that they're real and 20% don't. You know what I mean? But I 100% that believe that people are insane. I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
You're like, there's fucking ghosts in here. It's like, no, they have schizophrenia.
Wait, are we
Yeah.
sure? Have we haven't had like a psychiatric test recently?
Right. They're like, oh,
Well,
there's
see,
shadow
the-
people all over this place. It's like, no, you have
With my
cataracts.
thing, you're just seeing regular shadows. In
Right.
your
Your
eyes,
vision is
don't
going
know.
because you have diabetes. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a shadow
See,
person.
my whole thing, dude, is there's too many stories
Yeah.
from all across the world
Yeah.
to say that it's not possible.
I agree. I agree. with
Every
that.
single person would have to be lying.
Yeah. That's
in
the
human
stance
history.
I take on every single subject
Yeah.
when it comes to the paranormal. You know what I mean? Like certain things you can see like right off the bat that it's fake as shit. You know what I mean? Like when you see like a video of the rake, you know what I mean? Stuff you're like, that's not real, dude. Like it's not real. It's clearly CGI and bad CGI at that most
Yeah.
of the time. You know what I mean? But there's other ones like ghosts, like aliens, like Bigfoot, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like there's so much content. And for every one of those groups of people, like every person that's ever reported it ever
Would
has
have
to be lying.
Every
Right.
single one.
Every one of them, or misidentifying
Yeah.
something. Every one of them, I don't think so.
Like
dude.
you'd have to have every single person misidentifying Bigfoot as like
Yeah.
misidentifying a bear as Bigfoot.
right.
Every single one of them. Because
Everyone.
what else is out there that's big enough to qualify for that size?
Nothing.
That's the part where I kind of said, like, dude, there's got to be something. Because even like shadow people, man, like there's not as many stories as like a haunting,
Right.
like a regular ghost story.
Sure.
But I mean, there's a lot of them.
Right. I don't
And
even
a
know
lot
if
of
there's like
people are
movie
starting-
like a movie made about shadow people. If there is, I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
But it
Well,
seems
the
like
problem is that each one apparently has its own agenda. You know?
okay, right.
But anyways, get back to kind of what they look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the reports describe, as a black being with no discernible facial features,
Mm-hmm.
such as a mouth or any eyes, nose, ears. It's just the
Right.
shape of a human,
Right.
like a rough shape.
Yep.
But there are some reports, however, and this is where I was talking about where there's like different kinds of these creatures,
Right.
that they appear to have glowing red eyes that peer at you through the darkness with no other features.
Yeah, they're like, hey
So you
man, don't
just
come over
see.
here. Like, there's some danger.
Well, dude, I mean, there's
That
ones
will
that are
work
like, oh
100% of the
yeah,
time.
red eyes will 100%.
Glowing in the darkness. Yes,
Yeah,
that'll
but
work.
there's ones that have like white eyes. There's ones that red.
Keep it consistent, shadow people.
There's
What are you
ones
doing?
that have like this giant fucking smile,
That's
like
yeah.
an inhumanly large smile with
Like
like,
I never heard that one. I
yeah,
never heard that one. I'd rather have the glowing red eyes than that.
yeah,
God.
yeah. There's a lot of like, there's a couple different versions, and there's even one that's called like the Hat Man, and he's the worst of the worst. Like you see him, you're fucked.
Okay.
Like, no two ways about it.
Right.
But like I've
What's
never.
his deal?
He's just evil from all the stories
That's
I've ever
it?
heard about him. Yeah, like
Okay.
he's out to get you.
Well, I'll never trust a
Or
guy in a hat again.
yeah,
Well, there
like
you go.
like the old school kind of like bowler hat kind of
Yeah,
style.
I never trusted a guy wearing that anyway.
Yeah, no, you can't. But a number of these alleged sightings, right? They're often described as seeing them just outside of peripheral vision or appearing in mirrors. Right. So
The
like
mirror
you're getting
thing,
like
I'm kind of over the mirror thing.
yeah. Well, I
It's
mean
a
that's a lot
cliche
of
at this
ghosts.
point.
Like
It's a
you'll see
cliche.
them in the mirror, but you won't see them, and
Right.
it's kind of the same thing as like seeing them in a camera.
Well, they're doing a lot of that stuff now too with like the simulation theory that we're in the Matrix, where like you'll see like somebody looking in a mirror, they'll look away, but the reflection doesn't follow them for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, that
Stuff
shit's
like
creepy if you ever seen
that.
that.
It's super creepy looking. I agree, but I just don't think it's real. I don't think it's real. Or
Yeah.
there's something else going on there. You know what I mean? Like light and all that does weird stuff. You know what I mean? Especially when it's like reflecting and can cause this was same thing that causes mirages in the desert. You know what I mean? Like light does weird stuff. And the human eye is not great comparative, you know.
No.
Like a hawk, you know what I mean, has like, you know, telescopic views and you know, they can like zoom in, you know, like 100
Yeah.
meters, you know what I mean? It's super it's nuts.
It'd be
Yeah.
awesome to have like that kind of vision.
Yeah. Yeah. What if I mean we would have developed some sort of disease where you couldn't control it, so it's like zoom, 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 you know what I mean? It's like it'd freak people out. I don't think that's humans don't need that.
No.
There's certain skills we don't need. That's one of
No.
them.
Yeah, I guess you're right on that. But some of the time the shadow people, they don't seem to notice that people are watching them. All right.
Okay.
And they go about their business and on almost indifference to, whether or not there's somebody there.
Okay.
Now there is actually a story about that, and this is where you wanna be careful with these guys.
Yeah.
There's a woman, and she put her story up on one of those sites, 4chan, something like that, where she said she started seeing a shadow person. He'd walk from her second story down to her first story, and round the corner into the dining room. And it happened for like a year and a half. She'd see him every single time. It was like 9:00. On that, boom, walk down the stairs, take a right, go in, and then disappear.
You sure this is not just like a lonely person?
No, because her son's in the house too.
Well, I mean, you just as
Yeah.
an adult, I mean, you can still
No.
be
Well,
lonely for
let me
companionship.
do the story here, and I'll.
Okay.
So every day, and she got so used to him, she'd see him, and then just go back to watching TV, because he did the same routine. He was there for a couple minutes,
Right.
not even seconds.
Okay.
Boom, boom. After like a year and a half, she finally goes, "How's it going, Shadow Man?" He stops dead in his tracks and looks at her. Of course, a whole year worth of him doing the same thing, this freaks her out.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not
What'd you
supposed to
expect?
acknowledge him.
What did you
Yeah.
expect was going to happen?
Well, he stops, turns, and like does that real quick ghost flash right to you,
Right.
then like disappears,
Yeah.
like right in front of her face.
Yeah. Just enough to shit your pants
Yeah.
as a grown
Well,
adult.
what happens
Yeah.
after that is he stops showing up at 9 o'clock and walking down the stairs. He starts showing up all throughout the house. It's like essentially she acknowledged him and allowed him, essentially freed him.
Right.
Right.
He's like, oh, I can just go wherever now.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you've given him power now.
Like you
So-
permission to move about the cabin. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's like, oh, cool. You know, I can just go
So
wherever I
he
want.
starts doing this, and now shit's getting real in the
Right.
house. And it's getting real bad. And then all of a sudden, her son starts talking about the man and his friends showing up in his room.
No, I actually brought his buddies with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She moves out pretty damn quick after this. It was
I'd moved off
What-
the planet.
yeah,
Like I would
Dude,
go to a different
essentially
planet.
they were after, once she acknowledged him, like 5 more showed up,
Right.
and they were after her son.
Okay.
Luckily for them, they got out in time, left,
Right.
and they didn't follow him, so they were stuck to that house.
Right.
But if she had stayed,
Maybe that's
God
where the rift was, you know what I mean, or something.
yeah, if she would have stayed, what would have happened to her kid?
Either a really
he
fun
would've been-
time or a really
he would've been
horrible
dead.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a whole thing about don't, like sometimes, because even with regular ghosts, if you don't acknowledge it, a lot of times it starts dissipating.
Right.
It's when you react, you feed into the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be like, hey, you know, like what's happening, man? Like to a spectral being walking through my house. I would have tried to have taken care of that problem immediately. Not, 500 days later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what the
Well, 'cause-
fuck is happening?
Because
Especially with a
that's
kid in the
part of
house.
being a human. You get so you it's amazing what we can get used to. Because she
I
sees
can
this
never
thing,
get used to that.
she sees this thing every single night, same time. He's there for like 30 seconds, disappears. You don't see her, he don't see him again
Right.
the rest of the night.
Sure.
And eventually, I think she just got so used to him, she finally said something to him, and that triggered the whole event.
Like, what would possess you to even do that? Honestly.
Arrogance, I suppose.
Well, I mean, I guess you don't know that it's gonna be some sort of like
Well, I
shadow
mean-
person cuck and bring all of his friends over to your kid's room. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like to watch some horrible things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That,
Well,
you
see,
don't
that's
expect
the
that
thing
to
too, is
happen.
that like, yeah, she didn't. He did the same thing. She never figured he'd change his routine, but then once she acknowledged him, all hell broke loose.
Yeah, the minute he stopped, I would have been like, "Oh man,
I
that was
fucked
a
up,
really
boy.
bad idea, dude. Like, I wish I
is.
wouldn't have done that."
Yeah.
And when they like to do like the, you know what I mean, like they're
Yeah.
real quick on you. It's a good tactic if you're trying to scare the shit out of somebody. I mean, it's a great tactic to do.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. That would
Wish-
scared the hell out of me.
I kind of wish I could do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Just a real, like someone bothering you, and just like teleport to their face.
or like at work, like, "Hey, where's that report?" Like, here you go. You know what I mean? Just like, like,
They'd
they'll
stop
never
asking
ask you
for that
to
report.
do work ever again. It's a great way to get out of doing anything extra.
For sure,
Jesus,
man.
Mary and Joseph.
Well, there's other like alleged eyewitness reports of these beings that are often like they're similar in description,
Mhm.
and these accounts like they're almost always like the same forms. They're blob-like cluster.
Right.
Sometimes they have tendrils, which in my opinion is kind of scary on its own.
That's right up there with the giant smile. You know, like the Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson smile. You know,
Yeah, like the inhumanly large
right?
for its face smile.
Yeah.
There's child-sized beings.
Mm-hmm. That bums me out.
Uh,
Hope they're not kids. Like,
I doubt it. There's a lot of these things that could change forms as
Okay.
well.
all right, that makes me feel better.
Sometimes they have a hood.
How do you tell they have a hood on?
I don't know. I guess they.
I'm
you see
poking holes in
a
this whole
small-
thing.
A small dark face and then like a billowy little hood.
Whatever.
There's sometimes there's a tall willowy figure with like a jack-o'-lantern sized head. So it's a fucking massive head on it.
like a Ichabod Crane
Yeah.
shadow person. Great.
And a tall figure, which I mentioned earlier, with a hat. Now that's the one you do not want problems with.
Right. Yeah.
And the last description, extraterrestrial.
Come on with that.
Yeah, like they kind of look like that a little bit.
Oh my god, dude. Like I'm
But I think it
I'm on the
really,
ET's side here, man. Like stop lumping them in with everything.
yeah, for the love of God.
Maybe extra dimensional, sure. Okay.
Yeah, like
But don't
especially
say
if you want to
they're
like,
not from another planet.
especially if you want to like believe that there are extra like other dimensions layered on top of each other.
Sure. Okay. But they're not from, Jupiter. No, they're not
No,
from
they would have
there.
just been from like an alternate version of Earth.
What there's nothing but shadows. I mean, there's still gotta be a sun to make a shadow. Something's gotta make the shadow.
Well, and in that
Do you
stereo, it
have a
would be
shadow
like
when there's no lights on?
you're not seeing the 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 being essentially. You're seeing the imprint onto our
Oh,
reality.
like a
So
consciousness in
yeah, like a
in a
footprint.
in a
You know how like a
form.
footprint doesn't
Sure,
look like
sure.
a boot, but you know it came from a boot, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, a lot of the descriptions are similar, like we were just talking about. Some do seem essentially to like mimic a person's worst fear. So this implies that the person who's being visited or is seeing the shadow person is under some sort of psychic attack, which is what I believe would be happening if that was the case. Like they're in your mind.
Yeah, they're already in there before you even see them.
Right. So they're pulling off whatever you're terrified of. So in my case, like a giant spider, like a Stephen King novel, where I'm
Yeah, like
terrified of
8-legged
spiders,
freaks kind of size.
like arachnophobia style. Yeah. Like I will not watch a Spider-Man movie. I've never seen one. It's
I won't. I'm not missing anything. I know that much.
That's like a guy who's afraid of bats. He's not watching Batman. You know what I mean? He's not watching it. He's in the corner crying his eyes out because he's terrified. No way, dude. Would I be doing that? And so whether they're from another dimension, and even some people think they're like a time traveler, which I don't really get that theory, but it is one, unfortunately. Like I don't know how they're considered that, but apparently
I
they are.
guess.
In the future, we just turn into black masses of evil.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see the only way I could see that is like one of the ones that don't stick to the routine.
What do you mean?
Like the story I told where you go down the stairs every day at 9 o'clock.
Okay, okay. It's still
But
a
even
time
still,
traveler.
like, yeah,
That's the worst one
because
ever.
these things are never like they're not walking down the fucking street. They're
Right,
usually like house locked, you know what I mean, or building locked. They're not ever out and
right,
about.
right.
So yeah, I don't make any damn sense.
So if that's the case, then we can just all relax because it's just a time traveler coming back from the future to try to get his parents to get together.
Because he almost broke him up
And they're
by
looking for
kissing his
plutonium.
mother.
Yeah. Then he like makes out with his own mom.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever really points that out. It's creepy. It's a creepy aspect of that
Dude, you
franchise.
remember the Family Guy episode?
No.
Oh, it was a cutaway, and it's like after he comes back. You know, in the first scene where he like sets the carpet on fire or something.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "I set the carpet on fire." He's like, "What? You think I wouldn't notice that our son is a dead ringer for the guy that set us up 17 years ago?"
Oh yeah.
I'm not going easy on him. Like whips out his belt, chases after him.
I quit watching that show after like the second season.
I think it was it was pretty early in the
I hate
show.
that. I hated that show after a while.
Well,
But
I can't talk to you anymore.
well, that's fine. That's the way I like him. So it's either like I said, the time traveler thing. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw that in the trash because I don't believe that's to be true, or a demonic entity, which I think is probably more in line with, the physical appearance, like the stuff that they do, the way they carry themselves. I see the relation between those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean
I don't
that's
think that you're like conjuring them.
more thematically in line
Right.
than time traveler.
Right. It's believed though that the creatures are fully aware of what they're doing and they have their own agenda. They just don't care if you're watching it. Essentially, really, who gives a shit about this guy? What are you gonna do?
Not
What are you
a
gonna
damn
do?
thing.
You're not gonna do anything. You're gonna be like that stupid lady and talk to him. Then
Yeah,
you kind of brought that on yourself now, didn't you?
yeah.
Don't
Well, that's
talk
what I
to him.
said, dude. Like, yeah, because a lot of them, like the ones who aren't stuck in the loop,
Yeah.
do seem to kind of have their own
Yeah.
will to them.
Right. Okay. I'm just saying. If I'm in the
Yeah.
woods and I do believe in Bigfoot, like if I see Bigfoot walking through the woods and he doesn't know I'm there, I'm not gonna be like, hey, fuck you, Bigfoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like start talking
Fuck
to
you.
him. Yeah, start like being an asshole to him. You know what I mean? Like I don't want
Where's
him to
my
know
beef
that I'm
jerky?
there. He's a 900-pound ape man. I
Who's
don't
gonna
know
like
if he's
rip
friendly.
a tree out of the ground and beat you to death.
Right. Just because he lived with a family in the suburbs on a movie does not leave me to believe that that thing is super nice and will come give me like
Yeah.
a high five. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I
braid
don't
your
think
hair
that's
and whatnot. No.
yeah, I don't think he's gonna be that nice. I'm not gonna take the chance, right? So they have like they might have their own agenda, they might not. It might just be like they're on repeat or something like that until you notice them, right? The ones who show up in the corner of your eyes, they're known as peepers. Like we kind of mentioned those, which is a hilarious name for them.
Yeah, that's probably the best name you could give like a super scary creature.
Yeah, because it also kind of alludes that they're kind of pervy
Yeah.
at the same time.
Like they're trying to watch you. They're not being super obvious.
There's kind of like,
but
okay.
yeah.
They lean back and they wait for something good. Wait for something good to happen. They peek back out. All right. Wait till I tell my 5 shadow friends about this. I want to bring them all over to take a look at it too. Right. So it's like they're looking at you from behind something, right? They peek out of the corner, like we just said, to look at you to see what's going on. And then they disappear back behind whatever object they were sticking out of in the first place. Like I've seen where people like it's in like a door jam.
Yeah.
they
Yeah, like
go and
there's a
like
lot of videos.
like a 6-inch
like-
door jam,
Like until it moves, you didn't notice it was there.
Yeah.
And it's just like this head just
Dude, there's a
disappears.
really gnarly video of one of these things on I don't know if I'm going to say the show name right. I think it's called Paranormal Caught on Camera. I believe that's the name.
I don't think I've seen that
It's
one.
on like Discovery or one of those travel or one of those kind of channels. But it's like the dude like is on his cell phone and you hear a bunch of racket in his basement. He's like, I'm tired of this shit. I can't take any more of it. So he goes down there. He's like, hey man, what are you doing? And you just see the thing go whoop. But his lights are on down there. He turns the lights on.
Oh, I've seen that video.
Dude, and it's like pitch black. The thing that looks
Yeah,
out at him, he falls
seen
down the
that one.
stairs.
Dude, you want another good one?
Dude, he
'Cause
scared
this
him
is-
so bad he fell down the stairs.
Dude.
And when he gets up, he looks around. Of course, there's nothing there.
No.
But it was super gnarly
Dude,
looking.
you
Man.
want another good show to watch? It's on YouTube. The name itself, I think, is pretty funny. It has nothing to do with like scary shit. It's called Slapped Ham.
Well, what does
And
that
it's-
have to do with shadow people?
Not a damn thing. I don't know why
Fantastic.
they call it Slapped Ham,
Okay.
but dude, it has some of the like creepiest, scary, like real life encounter videos.
Right. That's kind of what that show is. It's
Yeah.
all like people caught on camera. So, good. So it was related to what we're talking about. So it is very similar to that. It's like all the like, the quote unquote like CCTV camera, which, they're not, some of those are clearly like a filter put on to make it look like it's caught from a security camera.
Even on
Some
that
of them
show,
are
man,
legit though, I think.
like it's clearly staged or
Yeah.
it's clearly CG, like
right.
photoshopped or something.
I will say though that I do think that show does a pretty good job of weeding out those kind of videos where there's the kind of you can clearly tell that somebody made them in Photoshop, you know what I mean, or something. They weed them out pretty well. And some of it's legit creepy stuff. Some of it, I mean, it kind of covers the gambit. I mean, it's like your Loch Ness monster, your alien, your ghost, your poltergeist, your
Well, that's what
chupacabra,
like
your
that Slapped Ham
Bigfoots. Yeah,
does.
Ah,
It's just
okay.
viewer. It's not viewer, but it's like actual people are taking this. It's not like
Right.
they do CCTV,
Right.
but like a lot of it's like cell phone and house coverage and stuff like house cameras and
Oh, okay, like a Ring or something.
yeah, that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
I got you. I mean, another consistent aspect of the encounters, and this is pretty consistent across the board with them, is that when you see it, you're terrified. You feel
Oh, who wouldn't be?
uncomfortable. You're paralyzed with fear. You can't move. Sometimes you can't run because it's kind of like a dream scenario. Like you ever try to run in a dream? It's like you're a marshmallow man. You can't run.
Yeah, now
You're super duper slow. You're never the Flash in your dreams. You're always super slow.
Yeah, it's your dreams, but you can never do anything.
It's like you're
cool.
made out of like a helium balloon and you're trying to run as fast as you can. You can't do it. And so it's similar to that, which leads me to believe that it's, also some sort of psychic phenomenon where it literally paralyzes your nervous system or something, where
Yeah,
you
where
just can't
like,
get out of there.
I mean, dude, how many cases have you heard when it comes to monsters or ghosts or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
where like like you're sitting there like you're petrified
Yeah.
until something breaks you out of it.
Yeah.
You're like somebody or a noise or something like snaps you out of it.
It's
It's
because
almost like you're being hypnotized.
I think it's like I think I don't know and I don't think this is right, but I think it's like your limbic system or something like that freezes your body solid. You cannot move for. I assume it's some sort of defense mechanism built into our lizard brain, where if you just
Probably
stand,
for the predators that used to
yeah,
hunt on sight or something.
what, like a T-Rex. Like, I mean, we weren't around when the T-Rexes were around. That is a useless skill. If I stand incredibly still, it won't see me. I don't think that's a thing that we do anymore. It's not helpful. And then there are the full apparition versions when you're sleeping. So it's not just the ones that peek around the corners at you. It's not the ones going through your living room, and then some idiot acknowledges it and tries to talk to it. These ones, you wake up out of a dead sleep and they're sitting there at the foot of your bed, sucking on your toes or something. I don't know what they're doing there.
They're just standing there staring at you.
That's so
minding their own
creepy.
business until you interrupt
Mind
them.
their own business. You're in my room at night while I'm asleep. That's my business. You're minding my business. You know what I mean? I'm no longer minding my own, and you're no longer minding your own. Now you are minding my business. And they're linked to, like your traditional haunting, even like the violent poltergeist, not like the funny stack your chairs up kind of poltergeist.
No, this is the shit being thrown at your head,
Right.
fires, stuff.
Yeah,
like
I mean
that.
they've even been caught like linked to deaths, like
Yeah.
people dying, and some of that might just be when you wake up like that and you're not your brain's not fully functioning and you see a creature of that type standing at in your room and you're alone with the door shut and the lights are off. I mean, it could be a heart attack, it could be a lot of things,
I mean, dude, there's even theories where it's like sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there is
that's a big
actually
one.
something there. Well, no, because that's essentially like there's people who say like the waking and dreaming time,
Mm-hmm.
like that in between is when you could like the veil, I guess you want to call it, kind of
It's
dissipates
thin,
a little
right.
bit, thins.
Okay.
So there's people out there who actually think like sleep paralysis is actually you seeing something that's actually there. You wouldn't have seen it otherwise.
Right. They throw the
But-
UFO abduction thing into sleep paralysis too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I've
for
never
sure.
confused not being able to move with being lifted out of a window into a spacecraft.
And
I've
then
never
somehow
made that
end
mistake.
up fucking 500 miles away from where you
Yeah.
were.
I've never
In an
confused
impossible
that.
amount of time.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
had sleep paralysis before. You ever had that?
No.
It's pretty scary, man. It legit feels like there's something sitting on your chest, and you, for a brief moment, believe that it's something you can't see,
Yeah.
preventing you from moving. You really feel it. You believe it.
That's
but
because you can't, your logical mind can't kick in and go, oh, it's sleep paralysis. It'll wear off in a minute.
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
these
it's
things
pretty
take
scary.
over.
It's pretty scary. I only had it one time.
No, I can't say I've had it.
It's pretty gnarly. It's pretty gnarly. I might have been drinking heavily the night before. I don't remember, but I remember that. I remember that because I couldn't yell like, "Hey, come help me."
Yeah, there's nothing you can do until
Nothing.
it
You
wears
just have
off.
to, yeah, just have to deal with it. And the shadow people visitations though got so prevalent that in 2010 it was actually described as the most reported paranormal encounter or phenomenon in the United States.
Dude, that's pretty impressive considering that they're not new, but they're new. You know what I'm saying? Like
They're new to American culture, I would say.
yeah, like they're new to like the scene.
Yeah,
Like
pop culture.
their stories have been around forever,
Right.
but you haven't been hearing stories about them forever.
Right. I mean, it's not the same as like, your exorcism, your possessions, your
Yeah.
run of the mill haunting of a, somebody that died in the house in the 20s or whatever, or they died from malaria or something like that. They died of
Old
dysentery.
timey
Yeah, I mean,
disease.
on the Oregon Trail. It's not one of those stories. It's relatively new. That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if they've made a movie. It's probably terrible, like one of those direct to.
DVD. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if it's a DVD anymore. But they don't. I don't know where it goes now. But
Oh,
it's
it goes on the Sci-Fi and Netflix is where it goes.
yeah. God, they got some garbage on there.
Yeah, they do.
God, they got some garbage. I mean, to say that you're the one of the most reported is pretty insane. That's
Yeah,
saying
because
something.
it jumps
Mhm.
over like all the other creatures.
Right. I would say
A
that
lot.
there is one part though that they were getting so popular. It was a little bit before that report came out in 2001. The report that the Shadow People made on the Coast to Coast. And I think Art Bell was the one doing it at that time, not so much George Norrie, but it blew up after that and became part of the
Oh, if
lexicon
it
of
gets on
paranormal
coast to
events.
coast, it like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
a big thing
yeah.
too, though.
Yeah. Well, a lot of stuff makes it on the Coast to Coast now, don't it? But
Yeah, but
it is
still,
very entertaining. It's
that and
still a
it's
very
still kind of
entertaining show.
impressive to get on to Coast to Coast.
You can buy a
enough to-
subscription to Coast for like $3 a month, and there's an
I
app.
heard, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it's for $3 or whatever. That's pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal. And I'm gonna listen to it more than I'll watch Netflix.
Probably.
I'll listen to
into
that
Netflix
more than
most of
I'll
the time.
watch like the new season of The Witcher that has one of the fucking Hemsworths on it. I don't want to watch that garbage.
No, not since if you're not gonna have
Henry
what the hell,
Cavill.
Henry Cavill in it, then it ain't worth the time.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
start over with a new show. Give it a different Witcher's name.
He was the perfect guy to play that character. He sounds
Yeah.
like him. He looks like him. He acts like him. Apparently, he's an uber nerd who just gets all the poon. So
Yeah.
good for him.
Bastard.
He's the one guy. He's the one nerd that made it.
Yeah.
You know?
The rest of us are out here dying.
Yeah, we're struggling, man. We're struggling out
It's
here.
real out here in these streets, man.
I'm just gonna go to the gym and only work my pecs and my traps. That's it. To look a little bit more like Henry Cavill. Yeah. Got like shoestring arms. Yeah.
Spaghetti legs.
It's all
it's
about
fine.
the pecs.
Yeah.
What would you do if you saw like a super jacked shadow person? Like, oh shit. He's like yoked. That's the worst.
Just hope you can get out before he notices.
I mean, there's some
he's
of
gonna
them
make you his bitch.
Yeah,
Otherwise-
yeah, he's like a reformed, like in the penitentiary shadow person. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that guy. But there's like some of them where you're looking, you're like, I think I could take him probably. I mean, he looks a little.
yeah, if he was
brawny.
like physical, I could, you know.
Yeah, I'm 190 pounds. I can handle myself, you know. Like, but you know, when one walks out like fucking Lou Ferrigno, you're in trouble, man.
Yeah, there ain't much you're doing to that.
Yeah, walks out looking like Batista. Like, oh, shit.
They're already like superhuman strong. Then you add on the fact that he's never missed a day at the gym.
Yeah, he's hitting the shadow gym like he's ever missed like Shadow Man leg day, like ever.
Yeah.
Eating shadow protein constantly.
You're fucked, dude. There ain't no way two ways
He's on
about
the
it.
shadow juice. You know, he's cycling right now.
He's a monster. Now, after we said that, you might be asking yourself, what can I do to get rid or repel a shadow person?
Well, if it's that
Well,
one,
if
you
it's
just
the
give him a
gym one,
shadow
you're-
protein shake. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's good.
Hope that's all he wants.
Right.
There are a few things, reports, you know, what's the word? Like ghost hunting people could say will do it. There's a few psychics.
Yeah,
you know.
like the paranormal groups.
There you go.
Yeah.
there's
Societies.
about
They
six-
like to use the word society because
Yeah.
it makes it sound
'Cause
classier.
there's only 3 of them in it, but saying
Yeah.
society sounds like they're bigger than they really are.
Okay.
Well, there's 6 here. I mean, there's a lot more. But I kind of chose 6 that might have.
Right.
Go well
I feel
with
like
it.
you need at least 10 to be called a society.
Yeah,
Can we set a hard number?
yeah. Like
You gotta
if
be
you don't have at least,
10 people.
yeah.
You gotta be in double
I-
digits.
If you're under 10, you're gathering.
Like
yeah.
9 and a midget.
Yeah.
I'll let it slide. But you got to be at least 10 full grown humans. To call yourself
Anything
society.
after that, and you're not a
Yeah,
society.
you're more just like a group.
Yeah.
You're just a group of people.
Well, there's one here, like a list, right? So it's like
Okay.
number one, you can learn to let go of your fear.
Yeah, 'cause
That'll
that's
help.
easy. That's easy to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do it every day.
Mm-hmm. You know how many fears I have as a
Yeah.
person of my level of paranoia? You know how long that would take?
Thousands.
What's number
I did at
two?
least 2 lifetimes.
Like I had here number one. Like, give me number two. Oh, it was a list of one. Shit.
This is gonna be a
Great.
while. But you can't, because there are reports of them kind of feeding off your fear. So if you can somehow get over it,
Right.
you could number two, you could either stand your ground and deny them entry into either your being or your home.
Yeah, well, I mean that one I kind of get though, because that's
I mean,
kind of part of a
there
lot of it where you like
a lot of like ghost stuff.
right, like that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like if you go ghost hunting, you're like when you're leaving, like you're standing at the door sill or whatever, you're like you're not gonna follow me home.
Yeah, you are not
Buddy.
attached to me. You have no control. You stay here where you belong. Blah blah.
Like how well is the ghost listening? What does he give a shit? He's like I'm dead.
Well, I mean, there are stories where it's like
I do whatever I want. I'm dead. I'm a ghost.
people. I mean, it's
I can walk
rare,
through
but there are
walls.
stories where that works. Where it's like,
Okay.
get out of my house. This isn't your house anymore. It's mine. I
And the
live
ghost is
here.
like,
you
oh
don't."
shit, man. Like, sorry.
Yeah, it's like, damn. If you were gonna yell at me, I would have.
I'll go to the neighbor's house. That's fine.
Yeah, shit, man. I mean, I'll crash on their couch.
Yeah, you're like you're not gonna believe your neighbor. He's an asshole.
Yeah, dude, he screaming at me at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's what happened to that lady. The ghost came from her neighbor's house, the Shadow Man.
Yeah,
The guy was an asshole to him, so he hightailed it
he
out.
went
of
over there.
Yeah,
As soon as he was like, "Oh, you cool with me being here? I got some friends I need to
yeah,
place to crash too."
Yeah, I got 5 bum shadow friends.
Yeah,
Bum
they've
ass.
been living in their shadow cars, dude.
They're
for
shadow
like months.
lushes.
Well, number 3, you could focus on positive thoughts, which that kind of new
That's
age.
easy enough, I guess.
Number 4, you could call out Jesus's name to help repel them,
Classic.
which that's more.
It's a classic.
Yeah,
But
I
you
mean,
have to
that's-
be I think that one to work, you
can't
have to be
be-
a believer.
Yeah,
You
I don't
can't just
think
do
you
it.
could be like an atheist and say, "In Jesus' name, get out." They're gonna laugh at you.
You never heard that old proverb? There's no atheists in haunted houses. Never
No,
heard
I've
that?
never heard that before.
It's because I just made it up.
I'm pretty sure it was the no atheists in the foxhole.
I like the way I said it better.
Fair enough. You can either keep a light on or envision a bright light around you.
So live like a toddler.
Yeah,
Have a night light all the time.
yeah.
Very good.
Never like that. The Tooth
don't-
Fairy movie.
Oh yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
That was
yeah.
a good movie, actually. I
Yeah.
like that movie.
Like, but doesn't the night lights create like weird shadows in your room?
Yeah. So
Kinda
it actually makes
counterintuitive.
it worse than if you were just in like
Yeah.
pitch black.
Yeah, that's counterintuitive.
And number 6, you could bless the room / your house, whatever
Sage it.
part. Yeah, or have somebody come in, bless it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Like a priest, like Amityville Horror style.
pretty
Come in and
much.
bless your house. Right. They get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Head starts spinning. Although that's
If you're a priest, though, I'd get the hell out of there as fast as I could. Like I tried, man.
it's like, dude, whatever's in there,
Like
it's
while
scary as shit.
like I'm a man of faith and I'm a man of God. That is intense. There's
Yeah.
limits. There's limits.
what
I
I'm-
am just a person. I'm not God himself. I just know the
Yeah.
guy well. I know
Yeah,
everything
like
about him.
I claim to know him well, but I've never once talked to the man.
Yeah,
so
I don't have the power of him to get rid of this horrifying creature in your house. Burn it down and leave.
Start new.
The hell? What do you want me to do? That's insane. That's nuts. What do you give him for that? You slide him a bench? You think? Thanks, man.
Hey, here you go, man. Don't.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll show up this weekend. I'll be extra generous with the.
I'll be extra Catholic this
Yeah.
Sunday. What do you say?
I'll slap you
It's
another
nuts.
20 in that collection bin of yours.
Yeah. Like I don't blame these guys for hightailing it out of there. That's
No.
insane, man.
I mean, even when it comes to church, a lot of times, dude, they have to get permission from the higher ups, like cardinals and shit.
I
to
think
do
that's
it.
an exorcism. But I guess you're exercising the house. I think that's the
Yeah.
minor rite of
Well,
exorcism
I think
is a
there's like a
place.
loophole where if you're doing like a blessing,
Mm,
you can get away with it, but like any like kind of big stuff where
yeah,
where if you're claiming you're fighting something,
right.
they have to get like permission.
Okay, that's fair. That's fine. And I respect the priest, man. I mean, like the dude tried. Like if
Yeah.
they go in there and they can do it, great. But you're putting these people, like, let's just say it's real, right? And they're shadow
Yeah.
people, and they're haunting your house, and they're mean, and they're throwing your stuff all over the place, that you worked your ass off for and pay
Yeah.
with your
Fucking
hard-earned
asshole.
money, and they're breaking all your stuff, and they won't leave. And you're like, hey, priest, like, you want to come do this for me? Like, leave the guy alone. Leave him alone.
He ain't doing nothing. He's at his house.
Like, you're so selfish that you want to bring in this guy. Like, you deal with it.
Yeah.
That's horrible. That's
And dude, I
scary,
think
dude.
there's even like there's certain priests who like
They
they're the
like it.
ones who are supposed to be doing
They're
their
into it. Yeah, they're in. There's some guys that
like
are
not
into it.
every priest is allowed to essentially.
Right. Or would probably want to.
Yeah, I mean that too. I mean, dude, there's
What
even
if it
been
follows
like,
them?
stories
Causes a
where
problem in their house.
like they got rid of the entity like a demon. It's
Yeah,
always like a demon esque,
sure.
and it like literally kills them. They're dead within like 3 months.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah, like yeah, I saved your life, but I also threw mine away, which I guess is technically what they're all about.
Yeah, I'm good on that. I'm good
But
on that.
it is safe to assume that like the shadow person is feeding on negativity in your life,
Sure.
and like I said with these like little list of rules here you could try
Mm-hmm.
by removing and combating this negativity.
Right.
It's essentially the utmost importance when you're cleansing yourself in your home.
Right.
Like you have to go
Fight
against it.
the negativity.
Yeah. Of course, this is all assuming it even works against them.
Right.
Yeah. Like they might just be like, why are you walking around with that burning piece of
If they're from
leaf?
another dimension.
Yeah. What's it? Yeah.
If that holds
If it's
true,
the time traveler, you're just pissing them off with the smell of fucking sage.
they banned sage in 2538.
Yeah. For that exact reason. It stinks.
It just doesn't make any sense. The time
Yeah.
traveler thing makes no sense.
Well, see, here's like this part here is where I think it actually holds a little more weight.
Okay.
Is you have to fully believe that your will
Mm-hmm.
is stronger to have them leave is stronger than their will to stay.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I'm
Yeah,
on board with that.
Yeah, because like I said, there's stories where it's like you stand your ground,
Right.
plant your feet, get,
Sure.
get the hell out of my house. This is my house, blah.
Right. Which I mean, I mean, I know I made fun of those people, but I get if you're gonna do it, I think that's probably the most effective way to do it.
Yeah,
Is say,
like
look,
you have
man,
to
like,
have the
you're
will,
not
power.
welcome in this place. Get out. Get out. You're evicting them. You're ghost evicting them.
Yeah.
Hey, I kind of get it though, because they're like, okay, this guy or gal has had enough of my nonsense, and they're not going to take it anymore. And if I don't leave, they're going to bring in people like this, and they're going to make me
force
leave.
me. Yeah, or if it's a demon, they'll force me back to hell or wherever
Right.
I'm going or wherever I'm
Right.
from.
Right. Yeah, the seventh
Now-
dimension.
Yeah, like it
Wherever
it
they're
could
at.
take a few times too, like to fully break the entity's hold on the
I would
location.
imagine that would depend on how strong it is.
Yeah, like if
Okay.
it's going like buck wild in your
Right.
house, it's probably going to take a few months.
Sure. For a
Yeah,
rough
it's
few
not
months. Yeah.
It's not going to be like, oh, okay, and
Right.
just leave.
Right.
Like last, like if the situation gets too hard to handle, like we've already mentioned, you can bring in like a strong psychic medium, a priest, a demonologist,
Yeah.
a shaman, whatever your
Is there one?
denomination.
Do you think there's people out there that are all three?
Probably.
Like I'm a psychic Catholic demonologist. I bet you there are. I bet you a bunch of those like Catholic
Well, I
priests.
know,
I
like,
don't know why I keep
I know there
picking
are
Catholic
priests
out
who
all of
are
them, or
demonologists.
Christian or whatever, like the whatever denomination they are. That they're probably a good bit of them are at least demonologists if they're involved in these kind of things.
Yeah, well, I know that there are priests who are demonologists.
Oh, okay, that makes sense to me though. Logically, that makes sense.
Yeah, especially if you're like the exorcist
Yeah.
kind of priest.
Ah, okay. Am I the only one that feels like talking about this might cause some problems in my life?
No,
Like, I'm a
I
little
mean, there is
nervous.
a whole thing where it's like,
I'm a little nervous to go to sleep tonight.
well, like there is the whole thing where it's like, there's even talking about it can sometimes manifest things.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't have a problem with that. I'm gonna go sleep nice and easy. And
I'm gonna sleep
you're
like a
gonna be
mummy
tossing
tonight.
and
I'm gonna
turning.
wrap myself from head to toe in something. Yeah, like in a cocoon.
I'm gonna go outside, get 2 sticks, strap them together, make it look like a
I'll
cross.
have every light on, TV blasting, something happy.
No, the only thing I've had like recently was, you ever have that feeling that there's something behind you?
No,
Oh, really?
I really never
Dude,
have.
I was lying
If I
in bed
have, I don't remember it.
like I was lying in bed one time, petrified, because I felt like there was something right behind me.
It was your
You ever
wife.
have that? Like, no, well, no, my wife was in front of me.
Oh,
Now, you ever like that horror movie scene where like they realize something's behind them,
mm-hmm.
and it's like you're good until they turn around.
You're right.
I
They
sat there for like
kinda-
15 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
that's
this
your
is starting to
mind.
get a little ridiculous.
I think that's your mind playing tricks on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of had debunked that a bit. They did an experiment at a college where this dude would just walk up to people and start talking, and then they'd have another person stage somewhere like staring at the person that they walked up
Yeah.
to see if like people can tell if somebody's watching them or get that feeling, and none of them did. Not a
Yeah.
single one of them. And they did it to like 100 people. Nobody got the feeling that somebody was staring at them, even though somebody was in fact staring at them,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even
Well, I
that far
think
away.
it kind of, in this situation, it would be
More spiritual.
super. Yeah, like your soul, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Kind of deal. Like it's like
Okay.
you feel the
Not so
evil.
much a physical thing, but more of a
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I can get on board with that. Like if like the hairs start standing up and you get that electric
goosebumps
feeling, and you're like, okay, there's something strange is happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when you get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. You
It's not
sell
that
your
hard.
house, or you burn it, or you get somebody to burn it down for you
Leave
for
your
the insurance
kids,
money.
your family, leave them behind. Save yourself.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I have a whole plan to ditch my entire family if a monster ever shows up.
I wonder how well that would play in court, like in your divorce hearing. But you're being divorced for abandoning your family. Yes, Your Honor. But in my defense, it was infested with shadow people.
Yeah. Like I had to get out of there.
Yeah. One of them was 250 pounds of solid shadow muscle.
Yeah.
Do you understand, Your Honor?
I was
you
in
get
fear.
that? You hear what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Go spend the night. over
Another
there.
one looked like he could run me down in a heartbeat. Like he was the
Yeah.
Usain Bolt of shadow people.
Yeah,
Like-
it was nuts what was happening over there. Go spend the night over there, Your Honor,
Yeah.
and we'll come back tomorrow. And if you still think that I'm in the wrong, so be it.
Dude, I caught the 250-pound one shadow boxing in the corner.
Yeah, shadow boxing
Shadows.
somebody else.
I'm assuming he
I
was
don't know
whooping
how it
somebody's
works.
ass.
I don't know how it works.
It was a shadow person shadow boxing. I don't know if he was shadow boxing or if he just wasn't beating the hell out of another one.
Right, he was just
But-
fighting another shadow person. I don't know. That's
was
how
ca-
crazy it got. I don't think that's going to play well.
No, I think you end up in the
That's
ward
kind of
somewhere.
like that's kind of like waking up. Like I got tired of being abducted by aliens from that house, Your Honor.
So I left.
I was over it.
Yeah.
I was over it. I've been pooping pancakes for 6
Yeah,
straight months.
I couldn't take it anymore.
I couldn't take another
physically
probing.
couldn't take it.
I couldn't take another probing. All right, everybody. That's Shadow People. Thanks for joining us. We love you as always. Follow us on the Facebook.
Instagram,
Yep.
YouTube.
Yep. Follow us on all that nonsense, and we'll catch you next week.
See y'all later.
Bye.